Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Today's video, we are doing a countdown. I haven't done one of these for a while, but I thought, what the hell, let's jump in and do another one. Today, I want to cover the most satisfying deaths, the 10 top most satisfying deaths of the Walking Dead universe, in my opinion anyways. And so we're just going to jump right in this, but before we do, of course, if you enjoy this video and the channel in general, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But let's jump right into this. Starting off with number 10, we have Tomas. Now, Tomas was from the prison group that Rick and the others stumbled upon that were locked up in the cafeteria right at the beginning of the prison arc when they were clearing it out, everything, trying to make it home. And among these prisoners was Tomas, of course, and we all remember him. He was a problem from the get-go, and Rick recognized this immediately. He recognized him as a threat, while the other prisoners seemed to just survive and were worried about their loved ones. And for the most part, were friendly. Tomas just stood out as a potential problem and like he wanted to establish his dominance from the first meeting. Much like it seemed he had with the group of prisoners, but he tried to get Rick killed when clearing walkers. It just took that one attempt for Rick to be like, nope, he's got to go. So Rick came down on Tomas with a machete and giving him the exit he deserved and establishing Rick as the take no chances, no shit protector of his group. Moving on to number 9, we have Ed Petier. We all remember this guy, his short-lived time on the show and everything. He wasn't long for this world when we first met him, an abusive husband and father. He was a coward at his core and got the death that he had coming. And that's about all we have to say about him. Moving on to number 8, we have Lance Hornsby, this sneaky and manipulative character introduced with the Commonwealth story arc. We all knew we didn't like him as soon as we met him. There was just something shady and unfriendly about him, and he seemed to have no redeeming qualities as we went on to get to know him a little bit better. Between seemingly the back alley deals he was making, the mysterious friends he had in high places, just an all-around unlikability made his death very easy to accept and, let's face it, easy to call. Moving on to the next one, number 7. This one is a group one. We're talking about Jed, Regina, and the remaining saviors there towards the beginning of season 9. What was there to really say? They were former saviors. They couldn't let go of how life was under Negan's rule and wanted to continue to bully and threaten people under the united umbrella of Rick's leadership. He made the last mistake when threatening Carol and Henry and taking Carol's ring. His death at the hands of Carol was very satisfying and a very satisfying dismissal of the character and effectively doing away with the last of the remaining saviors. Moving on to number 6, we have another savior, one of the worst, one of the most annoying ones, one of the most kind of ones that you just wanted something bad to happen to. We have Jared. Another savior on the list that definitely had it coming, always taunting, bullying like the bulk of the saviors did at the height of their reign. His end was always going to happen the way it did, pushing people around, threatening the lives of people just trying to get by. We can't say we were sad to see him go. Granted, the character did come back for haunting hallucinations of Morgan's, but nevertheless, the character was very much better off dead. Moving on to number 5, we have Simon, one of Negan's high lieutenants that led the slaughter of past communities that didn't fall in line. Someone that definitely let the power go to his head and seemingly had no conscience when it came to doing away with anyone that got in their way or didn't assimilate to the savior rule. He was yet another character that was the maker of his own demise. Wanting to overthrow Negan and trying to secretly rise up behind his back, it got him to a spot that he just couldn't wiggle out of. And dying at the hands of Negan, you could tell during those last moments, Negan did regret this decision and didn't want this to be the outcome of things, but he recognized that he had become a problem with disobeying orders and putting the saviors at risk. Coming up with number 4, we have Sebastian Milton. We couldn't have a list and not include this piece of work. Son of Pamela Milton, an all-around shitbag. Sebastian, of course, is the son of the leader of the Commonwealth and another example of someone who absolutely deserved every bit of what happened to him. He was never exposed to the consequences of the apocalypse, never experienced that loss, and never had to go into survival mode just to make it. He was a complete tool, leading a life of being coddled safely behind the walls of a massive community and the son of its leader. He thought life could go on as it did before the fall and treat people poorly and put his needs in front of everybody else. When his time finally came and he went out in the most gruesome way possible, we celebrated and we rejoiced. Someone who was a walking, talking threat to the safety of anyone that was unlucky enough to have FaceTime with this jackass. His end was met with mostly stunned silence and immediately everyone moving on with their lives, not mourning this piece of trash human being for even 1 second. Coming down to the final 3, this one is a good one too. This is one that people wanted so badly, and it's happened in the most fitting way possible. Number 3, we have Gregory, former leader of the Hilltop and total scumbag. When we first met Gregory, we knew there was something off about him, mostly because he seemed to turn a blind eye to the saviors and their forced arrangement, a coward at heart that rose to power, feeding on people's vulnerability and fear. He was the leader of the hilltop when we first met our survivors, something he never let them forget, by the way, but always putting his safety ahead of anyone else. He lived in absolute fear of Negan and the Saviors and refused to defy their rule. Even with the help of Rick and Alexandria, he wouldn't dare stand up to the Saviors and advise anyone of any kind of uprising. His inability to show a spine and continued allegiance to Negan for his own sake led him to being an unworthy leader and ultimately led to his execution. And the whole trying to kill Maggie thing didn't help either. His people turned against him, begging for his life until the bitter end. He was another acceptable loss. Coming down to the final two, this is a big one. This is one of our legacy characters of the Walking Dead world as a whole. We're talking about Philip the Governor, one of the most iconic Walking Dead villains. He was the first in line of many foes that Rick and the group would face. Up until this point, aside from the occasional human threat, the dead were the ultimate obstacle. Then we met him, the leader of the first real community that our survivors encountered, of course. At first, he didn't really present as a threat, but someone willing to lend a helping hand. Then little by little, he revealed who he was and what his army was up to, ambushing military or anyone for that matter that could provide supplies, could be taken advantage of, in one way or another to further the community of Woodbury and keep up the ruse of being a kind and compassionate leader. After he comes across Michonne and Andrea, he makes the sale of this facade. Andrea, buying it with no questions asked, was the first in the long line of questions and suspicion from Michonne. Refusing to let them leave, and his secret meetings and his behavior, the layers begin to unravel. Learning of the prison after kidnapping Glenn and Maggie with the help of a familiar face, Merle, we see who he really is. Leading Rick and the gang, going after their people, opening fire on the town. This was the opening shot in the long war that would be with the governor. After the first attempt to take the prison was a failure, the governor mowed down what was left of his soldiers after they retreated, and thus we thought we saw the end of him until he popped up later with a new army of survivors that he lied to and brainwashed. The prison fell, the group scattered, Herschel murdered in front of everyone, but not before Michonne could run him through with her blade, ending his story. Now moving on to number one, hitting number one on our list, the most satisfying deaths, and all-around historic one at that, was Gareth and the Termites. A slaughter that is still talked about today and the tipping point into the murder Rick phase. After capturing a group and murdering others in front of Rick, Glenn, and Daryl, unfortunately not the first lineup they'd be in, Gareth and his group revealed to cannibals that they were all along. The reason they became the people they were. Terminus, starting out as a real sanctuary after the fall, just wanting to do the right thing, was quickly taken advantage of by an unnamed group where they were beaten and the women assaulted. They vowed to break free and never let this happen again as the world continued to fall apart, typical food supplies running short and hard to come by. The termites took advantage of needy people and led them to a place where they thought they'd be safe, but ended up being dinner. This was the case with our group, but it didn't go according to plan for Gareth and his people, as Rick and the others broke free, ravaged the community to spare anyone else the same fate as so many before them did. With Terminus in ruins, they thought that was the end of it until Gareth and the others revealed themselves after taking Bob, stalking Rick and his people. They met their end after Rick fulfilled a promise, slaughtering Gareth with the red-handled machete, others beaten to death in the church by Abraham and Sasha and Michonne, much to the newest member of the group, Father Gabriel's disgust and terror. It goes down as one of the most brutal and deserving deaths of the Walking Dead universe. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my countdown. If you have one that is similar or different completely, please leave those comments. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, leave those likes, get the algorithm to do its job, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.